Everybody, it's Jillian, and I am just so motivated and so excited for right now, today, and the future. I'm excited of the fact that I'm able to communicate very clearly, I think. Now, obviously, feedback from you will tell me whether or not it's clear, but I think it is. But of course, everything is left to interpretation. But I wanted to just give like a tiny little fair warning to those that are still, anti-government, anarchists, who don't like to work, who don't think that any career in this world is anything worth doing, that think that money sucks and all that stuff. And I want to say completely keep silent on my Facebook, because the joy of being humans, the joy of being human is the fact that you're able to challenge yourself. The fact that you're able to go and learn something totally new and different and then be an expert at it. That's what is appealing to me. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, you can go and hike around the world, you can travel. I mean, let's say if you could do whatever you want to do, you had all the money in the world, okay, and you wanted to put your money to something, right? Whatever it is. And some people who say that they're in the matrix that have worked in one job their whole life, whatever it is, they said, oh, well, I want to go and travel or go live on the Bahamas. Okay, great. Now, I lived in Hawaii for 6 months. I know a lady right now that lives in Hawaii because her husband is a Navy officer in the military. And guess what? Living the Hawaiian lifestyle, on the beach lifestyle, only lasts so long. Because how long can you just sit on the beach and do nothing and drink alcohol and eat lobster or whatever it is that you think is something, I don't know, extraordinary when you're in the Bahamas? What the joy is actually challenging your brain. The reason why people don't look for, or, so there's this guy that is on my Facebook that I've been on and off with as far as on Facebook as a friend, and anti-government, total activist. And, I posed a question. Hey, how many careers or things that you want to be an expert, how many can you have in your lifetime? If you could live indefinitely, how many do you think a person can have? And he said nothing. He said nothing. I'm like, what? And I'm like, when someone doesn't even want to, someone doesn't want to have one career, whatever it is, or a job or something, then it shows that they're just being a lump on the log. Yeah, you can go in and you can make baskets, you can do stuff, whatever. Yeah, that's fine. And you can run around and be like a native on the beach, but in my world, in the world here, okay, maybe people have different ideas of what life is. What is life to people? You don't know anything but this life. And how long can you sit on a beach for? How long can you, yeah, you can go and you can have unlimited amount of money and go live in different villas and across the world. But but once you skip around the world and once you've done all that, which there are jet setters that do that, but then guess what? They fall into drugs, or they go and they play investments in the market. They go and invest in new and different things, because guess what? They need to have to work their brain. So if you had all the money in the world, your beach life and all of your sedentary lifestyle, living on the beach, doing whatever, is only going to last so long, because guess what? You got to challenge yourself. That's what keeps you alive, is the fact that you're able to, take a problem and solve it, or create, figure out how to, get a goal. That's what I'm assuming. And because I'm right now, since I'm feeling wonderful, 100% well, the only limitation I have right now is money. That's my only limitation. If I had all the money in the world, guess what I would be doing? I would be going and doing cooking classes. I would go to a law school. I would do other things. But guess what? I'm working on getting my book out so you guys all have the opportunity to make the choice to say, hey, I can go and have 5 or 6 or 7 different careers because I'm going to live past 50 or 60. I'm not relegated to only being a hairdresser or only being a lawyer or only being a realtor or only being an insurance salesman or only being a McDonald's worker. Because that's what our lifetime is about right now, is that we go to college, or we go to a trade school, or we get into a career, and we're supposed to stay in that. And the ones that do change and hop careers, they're looked at as unreliable. When I showed my resume, when I went and I've been job hopping my whole life because of my illness and all that, I showed my resume to a district manager at Farmers Insurance, and oh my God, he laughed at me. He just laughed in my face. He's like, oh my God, you're job hopping. I'm like, this is all experience in different fields, in different industries. I have now a global view in a lot of ways of different cities, different states, different industries. So that way it gives you a more well-rounded perspective on who it is that you bring into an agency or who it is that you're prospecting. Oh, but no, in the Matrix, you're supposed to stay at one job or in one career for a long time until you die. So now we're looking at Jilly Juice and the possibility of living beyond 100 and still looking and feeling like you're 30. How many careers, how many challenges now are available for you? You could have your dream job, because guess what? You're going to have the health for it. You're going to have the clarity, the mental clarity for it. You're going to have the productivity and the energy levels. And you're going to make money too to be able to finance your dreams. And so when someone in the anti-government, anti-whatever world comes on my Facebook and says, that's right, Caroline, says, no, I have no desire to do anything, I'm like, wow, you already gave up. You gave up a long time ago. I have no energy for someone who gives up. Zero energy for that person. So I blocked him off my Facebook because I don't need that kind of negativity in my life, okay? I like motivated people. I like people who want to progress, who want to get to the next level, who says, hey, this isn't enough. I want more. And not more as in like you're just, being a consumer and consuming. No, you are wanting to, you're wanting to enhance your mind. You want to enhance the lives in your family and the lives that are around you. Okay? Who wants to work with somebody who's a slug, who has zero motivation? When someone has zero motivation, it means that they're sick and they have absolutely no desire to get well. So the only thing they can circulate in is the anti-government crowd, because that's how they're able to absolve themselves of responsibility and lay blame on somebody else. So that way they don't have to do anything with their life. They can just blame the government for everything, and so that they don't have to do crap. And so when someone like me says, hey, what is the possibility of how many careers you can have? They have absolutely nothing to offer. And then they actually voice that they have nothing to offer. Well, dude, if you have nothing to offer, then why the hell are you in my world? Get out. Goodbye. And so and I blocked him before because he wanted, he was promoting cannabis, and I'm like, dude, whatever. And then I brought him back thinking like, okay, maybe he understands that, no, I'm not promoting cannabis. This is not the platform for that. He never acknowledged that, and I wasn't expecting it. But then this is another thing that no, I'm not going to tolerate. So yeah, when you're on Jilly Juice, and I'm like, right, I'm going to be 45, and I probably have more energy going to be 45 in February than I had when I was 30 or 20. And my energy is consistent. It is not this up and down. It is consistent. And I'm also in the healing process. So it's not like, I'm 100% there. No, I'm not 100% there. I don't think I think it's going to be a few years before I'm 100%. Hey, Krista. Hey, Caroline. But guess what? I am probably 5,000 million trillion percent better than where I was 3 years ago. That says a lot. So the only limitation I have is money, but I don't have any other limitations. I'm working on getting that money because I'm working on getting, my book sold and everything else. But even if not, well, yeah, it will. Because I think most people out there want to get well. Most people out there don't want to suffer. Most people out there do want to have access to an amazing life if they just got out of their own way. But they don't know it yet because there's so much programming out there that they have to, and some people won't survive it. We know that. Thank you, Caroline. I feel different. I even sound different. I even speak different. It's the most extraordinary feeling when you saw where you were 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And then when you look at yourself today, if you're on Jilly Juice, and you're like, I don't even recognize who the hell you are or who the hell I am. It's totally different. And then, you're wanting to give this to people who are just like, oh, I tell them, hey, well, wouldn't you want to, live a long time and have maybe another career that you want to get into and challenge yourself? They're like, oh, no, I don't even want to work. And they're on their death trajectory. And they're okay with that because they're so tired. They're so tired. Yes, drink a liter of the Jilly Juice. When people are tired and they're sick and they're tired, they have no hope for the future. They have no hope for a different life. They have no hope for anything that's going to challenge them past to what they have today. It's hard enough for them to manage their current circumstances. God, they can't even look at the future or look at any other possibility except for what they have right in front of them. And you feel bad for them because they have so much more to offer, but that's not for me to decide. You're doing your waterfall as you speak. Hell yeah. So, and I did I've given my book away to some of my people out here in Ohio. I don't have any expectation that they do this. Okay. One said that she took 2 tablespoons and she was waterfalling an hour later. She's like, oh my God, 2 tablespoons. And she started waterfalling. She obviously needs it. She's like, but I can't do it every day. I got to go work. Well, yeah, then you do it on the weekend. If you go to work every day, which is fine, go test it out. Do it on the weekend, waterfall on the weekend, and then figure out a way to implement it into your schedule. This protocol is tailored to your lifestyle. It is not something that is rigid like you have in these other protocols that have all these different parameters and checkpoints and things, because that's how they sell you into thinking that you're doing something, right? When it really is destroying you. No, this protocol you can tailor to your lifestyle. It is not something that you have to do every single day unless you have room for it. Do it on the weekend. Do a gallon or 2 gallons on the weekend. Go through your waterfalls. Yes, you're going to have healing symptoms that are going to bleed over into during the week, but that's no different than being sick. People get sick all the time in the Matrix, and guess what? They have sick days. Guess what? They have to go home and heal for a couple days. Guess what? They catch somebody's cold and flu, and that's what they have to go home. So your healing symptoms during your healing process on the protocol is no different than you being sick in the Matrix. Treat it as such. It's no different. You are healing, and you're trying to still maintain your current life, your kids, your job, and whatever, but you also know that you're important too, that your life is important. So you make room for and time to heal. So that way you are the best at so let's say you are in some, high level job. Let's say, or not even that, let's say you're a mailroom guy, right? And you're doing Jilly Juice and you're 20 years old. And so now you're amazing. You're a knockout, kick-ass mailroom guy. Then you take all the necessary tests and all the necessary credentials. And then now, so you're in, like, let's say a real estate company. So you're in the mailroom, and now you're a processor, a word processor. And then you get your real estate license, and now you're in commercial real estate. then now you're working with an agent and you're in commercial real estate and they're showing you the ropes. And then you're seeing the executive vice presidents, you know, taking leave because they have shingles and other types of health issues. And then guess what? You're going to be slotted for their position because guess what? You're not going to be sick. You're not going to be run by feeling like you have to have a kid and have a mortgage and a house or a family. You're not going to be run by your hormones and all of that programming. And you're going to be kick-ass in your profession, and you're going to be heads and shoulders above those other guys that came from Harvard and Yale who do eventually get married. Then they get saddled with a kid. Then they start getting the health issues, and then you're taking on their accounts because they don't have time because they got to go to some, you know, school program. And I'm not knocking families that do that. That's fine. You can fit that all in. But I'm telling you, if I was a 20-year-old kid in the mailroom of some huge company and I got in at the ground level, oh my God, you have it made if you have Jilly Juice, and you have it made. Industry and companies and our world are not going to go away. That's the anti-government, the anarchists, the conspiracy theorists who basically have failing health, who don't want to change their life. That is their mentality. They think that corporations are going to disappear. No, they're going to still stick around. And they're always going to be forever changing based upon whatever loopholes they figure out. So then you have to be strategic on your own to make sure that you have your own nest egg and have all of your insurance policies, so to speak, in case things do go awry that's out of your control. And then you go and just do you. And then let's say you decide that after like 30 years of doing real estate and you're still looking like you're 30 years old and you have the energy of a 30-year-old and maybe you're 60, you want to go to baking school. Now, I'm speaking from my point of view, that if I had all the money, I would go to baking school. I would go to culinary school. I would go be a culinary specialist, and I would work with food. And maybe a pastry, or maybe, even a dinner type of. That's what my next life is. So once I get everything figured out with my book and the books, and I work with all that, and I get really good at this, because I still have to get this book, the second book, off the ground. I still got to get out there and get this out to the masses because there's still so many people that need this information. So I have a while, before I get to my next career. But that's what I'm looking at. I'll be doing Jilly Juice promotions and speaking engagements and books for a while, because there's so many people that have a need, and there's only so much of me and so many people in my world that can get this out. So yeah, of course, make you a kick-ass cookbook. That's definitely down the road. So so that's what I'm saying. So so now you're 60 and you're looking amazing. No one knows you're 60, unless you show them your ID, and then you go and enroll. You go and enroll in culinary school. And so, yeah, the HR or the admissions people sees your age, like, oh, yeah, some 6-year-old guy's coming in, and they don't know who you are unless you put a picture, right? And then, then you go to your class, and they're like, and maybe they don't see your personnel file or something, and so they don't know that you're 60 and you look like you're 30. Yeah, and that's why we don't tell people our age, right? It's none of the people's business how old we are. And that would be that actually would be more appropriate as we move on with Jilly Juice, because you don't want to shock somebody who isn't really well versed in Jilly Juice when you say that you're 60 and you look like you're 30 and you're like, what the hell? You're lying. Did you steal somebody's ID? What the hell? Right? But that's still a little further away. There are people that are 6 years old on my Facebook that are doing Jilly Juice that haven't done it really hard, so they don't look 30 yet. But I'm waiting for somebody that is 60 or 70, which means that they got to be on the protocol for probably 5 or 6 years, really going hard to look like they're at least 40 or 30. But we know life creeps in. We know people and temptations come in, and you get off the protocol, and then now you have to scramble back doing it again because you're off it for a week and now you're feeling crappy. I know, and it's harder for the people that are older, okay, because they're taking it day by day. I get it, but I want you to dream. If you don't dream, how the hell are you going to have any kind of incentive to get and do your waterfalls, to feel the healing symptoms? Because there is no joy in pain, but there's joy when you know that there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. That's what keeps me going, is the fact that I know the possibility of the future. That's the difference. That is a difference. And I don't know what the future looks like. All I know is that, man, I can't wait to go to cooking school. I can't wait to speak in front of a bunch of people and introduce something like this. I can't wait to see when the mainstream is going to finally embrace me and stop making fun of me. Because I have those Facebook mentions, and I think once an hour someone's mentioning my name, poking fun. I'm going to snort J juice. It can't be any worse than Julie juice. It can't be, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I'm not even offended. I'm not even mad. I mean, it's just funny, because it's like, okay, how long are you going to make fun of something? And then why don't you just go and research it? Stop making fun and research it. I'm not an idiot. I don't look like an idiot. I don't feel like an idiot. I don't talk like an idiot. I'm probably the most clear thinking out of all your friends, those of you who are making fun of me. I mean, the fact that I'm able to just, banter back and forth, and I don't really take offense. Now when I do get into conversations where, maybe I get triggered because of, well, people write stuff, right? When you write something, I take what you write and then I filter it through what I'm saying, and I look at what you're saying, and then I say stuff, right? And I'm just going to respond to, and it may not be the right, but we all interpret things based upon our biochemistry and based upon what somebody is saying, based on their biochemistry too. So we're responding to their biochemistry. And so how can we write and do things and be really, really clear so we don't have to interpret something? We don't have to misinterpret. Like we need to interpret stuff, but we don't want to misinterpret. So one of the biggest things in my world, not big, one of my New Year's resolutions is to be very clear in my communication so that somebody doesn't misinterpret what I say. That it's so clear that if your intention is to offend, then you're not going to be surprised by the outcome of the conversation. People are going to get offended. If your intention is to be complimentary, no one's going to misinterpret that compliment. If your intention is to speak about a friend and why it would be a great addition, then you make sure that it's only about that friend and you're not bringing somebody else into it, so that way other people who are not brought into it think that they don't fit in that category. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't want anyone to misinterpret what you're saying. It's about being clear in your communication, and that's what I'm working on, is how do you be clear in your communication so no one misinterprets you? And then your intention is the outcome, and it's not a surprise. Because I say the outcome is always the intention, even if you don't intend it. The outcome is the intention. Because some people are very deceptive. They don't know it. Maybe they're speaking from a place where that's how they feel, but they don't want to really truly say it, so they try to dress it up. But you can't dress something up that is in the written word. And then Krista goes, the clarity, the health, no fear of getting sick, the new life changes and confidence, stability, so many. Oh yeah. I even feel a difference in my mouth, in my cadence of speech. I feel a difference in just how I feel and even how I interact. I feel a difference in just my thought processes. I don't think I've ever had this clarity of thought to where it matched how I delivered. And if you go to my other videos, you guys that are my friends, go to my videos from like 2 years ago when I first started doing this. And remember, on Dr. Phil, I forget her name. She's like, oh, I was listening, when you said read the files in the group, I just was listening to your videos and it was so nauseatingly long. And I'm like, yeah, in my head, I'm like, I don't blame you, because yes, when I first started rolling this out and I first started doing Facebook Live, I was rambling. I had no organization, no clarity of thought. I was just trying to work it out in my head, and I had head fog, brain fog, mutations, PMDD, getting triggered, parasites. Oh yeah, I don't blame her for saying it was nauseating. But I was a different person back in March and even prior to March, because I think it was October before I went on Dr. Phil, was when Dr. Phil asked me to go on there and I said no. And then they asked me again and I finally said yes. And that's when the March came about. And then they aired it sometime in May. And then Chris goes, I no longer have anxiety. I could care less about stuff that used to crush me with anxiety. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's sometimes they're very subtle changes, and then sometimes it's like a slap in the face to changes that you have. It's not even a slap in the face, it's not a bad thing, but it's so profound that you almost can't even articulate, because someone would have to know who you were, like your friends and your family or your Facebook friends that watched you go through the Facebook lives and they've seen the changes and the difference. So that's why I get on Facebook Live all the time. And some of you, don't want to get on Facebook Live, and that's okay. But at least I'm going to be that example so you see because I used to not be able to public speak. When I went to Portugal, I had a very hard time public speaking because I was still reeling from all the issues from the OAG. I was in defense mode. I wasn't in motivational speaking mode. I was still defending my information coming from a very weak platform. So now, I mean, things are definitely different, but I'll tell you what, when I was a kid trying to public speak, I think I was trying to say something in some kind of town hall meeting, and I really wanted to get up and say something about something, and I got up because they called on me. I raised my hand, I got up, and they called on me, and I had stage fright, and I sat back down, and I didn't say anything at all. The only time I really could sort of public speak a little bit was on the phone, calling Ron Owens, over on KGO radio in San Francisco when they were discussing some political thing of the day. And I call in, or Bernie Ward, I would call in and say, whatever, they were talking about. And that was really my only contribution to the public. That was it. I mean, even in class, when I was at Chapman University, my adult school in Folsom, California, giving presentations, that was difficult. I mean, yeah, it was a small classroom, and I wasn't studying so hard. So I didn't have all the information in the back of my hand, because it was like, it's like Mickey Mouse school in a way, but you're paying a lot of money for it. And, so but I did do, I think when I went to Toastmasters a couple of years ago here in Canton, Ohio, I think I did one speech, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't like great. I mean, and then I left it because, it was just, it was too mainstream and they weren't ready for me and I wasn't ready for them. So I just kind of let that go. So yeah, so, now I'm coming from a very different place. And so I think that whenever I do public speak in whatever venue, I mean, we know there's going to be time limits, and my hope down the road is I would love to do TED Talks. I would love to do TED Talks. But that's like a 40-minute type of speech. And so I have to make sure that I have all of my duckies in a row and my delivery is like right on, and I cover the main points, and I'm not, searching for words and doing that. So I definitely have, a lot of practice to have a polished delivery. Okay, so that's why I'm in the research and development, and I'm in the practice mode. So that's why I go on Facebook Live and I run through all these thought processes that may seem like it's scattered, because I am developing a thought process and then I'm reinforcing it, and then it becomes like a second skin, and then you guys are watching it, and then I got to deal with, the trolls and the people who have issues and all this stuff, and managing people and things. And so, yeah, I mean, you're going to see how it is I deal with people relative to my biochemistry of the day. Yeah, I could totally do it. And, you know, and I know I could do it, Krista. I know I could do it, but I definitely need to practice. And I need to practice doing it on stage. I need to practice doing it in front of a live audience, not just, you know, an electronic device like Facebook Live, though it's not bad doing it that way. But, you know, there is different ways to deliver information. And so, you know, it's being well versed. These are the challenges. These are the things that drives me. You know, how many things can you be an expert at in your lifetime if you're on Jilly Juice? It is limitless. Caroline said it best. It is limitless. I mean, let's say you're 400 years old and you had 10 careers in your life. Let's say you put in 20 years to every career and you were an expert and a professional and you understood the law, you were a prosecutor, you were defense, you know, you let's say you were a cook, you were a chef. I mean, it's like you're just gaining knowledge, and it's so exciting because there's so much out there. If we didn't have this society, what would we have? Running around in our loincloths, spearing fish, living from our baser instincts? No, we're more evolved than that. We are so much more evolved from that. But we are so like caveman in our perception of the human body that we think people should die and mutations are okay. But yet we are taking humans and squeezing all of their life out of them for a certain amount of time and getting the best bang out of their buck. So yeah, you have Steve Jobs that did the Apple for all the Apple people, right? Then you have Bill Gates who's aging, and then that other dude, Mr. Woz, right? And so, you know, we're basically using up humans, and yeah, we're getting it, we're advancing, but you know, Steve Jobs won't be able to enjoy the world that he kind of helped create. Wouldn't you want to create something and then be able to see how it manifests in the future, not die in 50 or 60 years? I feel that Steve Jobs is like young. He died really young. So I think that the mentality of our society is very caveman-like, and I think we need to advance that. I think that people deserve to invent something and create something like Tesla. Okay, Tesla invented some really awesome stuff, and guess who's reaping the benefits of Tesla? Who's a billionaire? Elon Musk, some entitled kid. How the hell did that happen? Shouldn't Tesla be the one to reap the benefits of his inventions and the future of what he just created? That's what I'm saying, is that we should be able to invent something and do stuff and then see it, how it manifests in our life, and then make things better. And then we all collectively are working from that. Because I'm looking at Facebook, I'm looking at TV, I'm looking at books, I'm looking at radio, and it's all about people who are dying, health issues, dogs that are being tortured and beat up, and kids that are being trafficked. I mean, there is no hope in humanity when you have all these crazy mutations, when you have death and you have destruction and you have sickness as the main thing. And then people just, you know, checking out. And it's going to suck for those of you on Jilly Juice that are seeing possibility, because you're not feeling hopeless like these people, like your friends, like your family. So yeah, you're going to be the weird one. I'm the weird one, and I'm okay with it. I love being weird. But I also like life. I love life, and I love the possibility of all of the you know, I don't know, I mean, the knowledge that's out there. It's like taking a USB card and sticking it in all the professionals, and then sticking it in your head and uploading all that data, and you have it downloaded in your body. That's essentially what I'm saying that Jilly Juice is going to be like, is you're going to be taking, if you're motivated, if you're not just wanting to sit on the beach and be a lump. No, if you're motivated and you're like, you have all these interests out there, and you want to learn, you know, you want to do law school. I would love to do like go to law school or be a chef or do all that stuff. I would love to do all of that. What stopped me back then was my health, and yeah, I mean, when you're not healthy, you're not focused. When you don't see really the future because it's been so hopeless because of sickness and behavior problems, yeah, you're not going to be making the right choices. That's why people who are dealing with criminal behavior in jail, or they're sick or whatever, that's why they're not in Ivy League schools, because they have sicknesses that are going on, mutations that didn't give them that allowance, that didn't give them that right platform so they can be successful and be focused. Okay, so this is what I want to give to you guys. And if you have no hopes for the future, and you're just one of those anti-government, anti-establishment, anarchists, what else, conspiracy theorists, and all of that, don't tell me you're hopeless on my Facebook, because I'm going to take you off my Facebook so quick. And hopeless people like to spread their hopelessness and their fear and their destruction, and they like to spread it. And I will pour salt on it and disintegrate the hopelessness. If you want to be hopeless in your world. And then if you decide to change, then go get my book. Go register in my website. Talk about your feelings under anonymity. Nobody knows who you are. And then if you want to let me know, hey, okay, I know I was whatever, and I'm so sorry. Why did you block me? This and that. And then I'll tell you why. Because you're still an anti-government. You're still an anarchist. You still, you may agree with me on certain things, but the predominant platform you work from is still anti-establishment. And I like the establishment because it gives us an infrastructure to work within so we can thrive as human beings. So we can have all the different opportunities, possibilities to challenge our brain to make life better. We need to have infrastructure. We need law enforcement for people who are very mutated, who cannot handle themselves or their families. We need to have CPS because there are some messed up mothers and fathers out there that don't know how to take care of their kids. Yes, there's mutations in CPS workers, but not every single CPS worker is mutated. Okay? We need to have those specific checks and balances. And if you see something wrong, you say something. You can't control everything that you can't see. And if you see it on the internet, do you even know if it's real or not? And even if it is real, what are you going to do? You can't be a vigilante. You have to allow the system to run its course. You have to allow the judicial system to do what it needs to do. You can only control so much. So control your life, control your dog, control your kids, control your husband if you can. and have an amazing life. You have every freaking possibility when you're on Jilly Juice. Everything. You can have 50 freaking careers. It's unlimited. So yeah, dreams of the future. You don't want to, cut off your nose to spite your face. That's what the anarchists, the anti-government, conspiracy theorists are doing. They are cutting off their nose to spite their face. Because if they really truly if they couldn't handle anarchy if it really came to their front door. They wouldn't be able to survive it. And they wouldn't want it either. They say they would because it's an easy way to blame somebody because you decided that you lost hope for yourself. So it's easy to blame the government and find everything that's wrong with the world than making something right in the world. Anyways. All right, I'm going to go do my thing, but I wanted to give you a pep talk. And yeah, I wanted to give you a pep talk to say, hey, you know what? Possibility is not dead. And if you feel like you have no possibility in your life, then you don't belong in my Facebook. So don't be spreading your hopelessness around here, honey. All right. So you guys have a good day or good night, I guess. And I'm just going to do what I do. Keep living. Keep loving. Why do people send me private messages? I'm not going to subscribe to your channel. People. Anyways. All right. You guys have a good one. I will talk at you later. Good night. In